Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What was a time someone assumed something about you that was completely wrong? One time in Japan I asked an old lady for directions, in Japanese. I was still a beginner but I tried my best to speak in their language rather than asking stuff in English. So this lady assumed I spoke very good Japanese and started chatting. I tried telling her I couldn't understand and everyone else on the bus was trying to hide their laughter. The conversation went on for 10 minutes and I still have no idea what she was saying. She was very nice though. Oh, I feel you on that one. When I arrived in Japan for my semester abroad and went to the estate agency that were going to show me to my flat, the head guy was apparently so impressed by my initial greeting words that he saw fit to machine gun through the particulars of explaining my contract at native speed XD. In retrospect, I really should have swallowed my pride and asked to switch to English at that point. They could have made me sign all kinds of shady stuff if they had wanted to. The first full phrases that I made sure to learn before my trip to Japan were I don't understand Japanese. Do you understand English? Do you have this menu in English? It's nice that everyone seems to know at least enough English to tell you that they don't know English, and as a foreigner it was largely assumed I didn't know Japanese. I was damned near mute for 2 weeks. I loved it. My ex-wife was convinced I had another family in another state. Simply because she heard a kid's voice in the background when I was traveling for work and sitting in a restaurant once. During divorce depositions, I once spent a full day being questioned, and half the questions were slightly different wordings of so you have another family /child /spouse /kid /dependent /etc. So. Do you? Haha. No, but it has become a running joke with my family. A bloke from Scotland thought I was Canadian rather than naturalized Canadian, and thought the Russian accent was how Canadians speak lol. I once had 3 Scottish guys sitting behind me in a plane. Those fuckers speak so fast I could understand only a fraction of what they were saying, despite them all being hammered and loud. I was in a youth hostel in Ardgata one time when 2 young guys came into the room and started having an animated conversation. After about 3 minutes I was thinking, these Dutch dudes seem much angrier than usual. After 7 minutes I realized they were speaking some language distantly related to English. Then I started talking to them. They were from Glasgow. Couldn't have been nicer. In an angry nice kinda way. I spent a month in California visiting some friends and I got a call from back home, was chatting shit with my mate and when I hung up the phone they were all staring at me weirdly. Turns out my slowing my speech down to speak to the Americans stopped the second I said right. And that was all they could pick up from the chat. So yeah, we do speak quickly. Reminds me of a documentary I saw once about the Queen. At one point they spoke to a Scotsman whose accent was so thick he was given subtitles. I was at a dinner party and people kept offering me drinks that I continued to decline. Eventually one woman's eyes lit up as she looked between me and my husband and then she asked, "Oh my gosh, are you pregnant?" Everyone around us got quiet and I laughed and said no, I have epilepsy. I was handed no more glasses of wine after that. I think it's unbelievably rude to ask people if they are pregnant anyway. People keep it a secret for a reason, not to make a fun guessing game for acquaintances. It's also rude to ask people why they don't drink or what medication they are on, but this scenario could easily pull out a triple faux pax combo. Sorry if I seem very dumb but what does alcohol do to you if you don't mind me asking? Edit, not to be one of those people but fuck it, thanks for the upvotes. Edit, thanks for the award. How the fuck did this become my best comment I have made? You're not dumb. I guess I should have explained, alcohol lowers your seizure threshold and causes complications with seizure medication. Plus, my medication raises my body temperature and I have to be careful to not let it get too high and alcohol always raises my temp. I live in a very Hispanic / Latino area and one woman heard me speak English and yelled at me for not speaking Spanish, calling me a traitor to my ancestors and bringing shame to my past family history in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Imagine her surprise when I told her I was Arab and Middle Eastern. Still felt guilty for not knowing Spanish for some reason. LMAO. Ooh. I've had this experience too. Well, same but different. I'm Hispanic but I'm often confused for Indian. I've been yelled at by Indian men for not speaking or understanding Hindi and have been told that my parents should have raised me better. I started wearing gold hoop earrings to make myself look more Latina and am no longer yelled at by Indian men. Edit, thanks for the awards. Wow. I want to plug 2 things since I see people asking. 1. This was when I was a teenager in Queens, NY. Big gold hoops were not exclusively a Latina thing but a popular trend amongst us along with really tightly gelled back ponytails. 2. I don't assume that every Indian man who spoke to / yelled at me was speaking Hindi, but the ones who did switch to English, I can only recall Hindi being brought up. Had a friend that when they moved to the States, moved to South Georgia. He told me the several times he was yelled at by random people to go back to Mexico. He's from India. People are ignorant. Around the holidays my students often wish me Happy Hanukkah. The exchange usually follows this pattern. Student, Happy Hanukkah, Professor. Me, thanks, Happy Hanukkah. Student, oh, I'm not Jewish. Me, neither am I. But thanks for the sentiment. Happy holidays. I'm a college teacher in a Brooklyn school, so a lot of my students simply assume I'm Jewish. I can see why they might make that assumption, but it does seem weird. Is your name even the slightest bit Jewish? Or German, or Dutch, or something that could be conceivably misconceived as Jewish? Half of white people here in Brooklyn are Jewish, lol. I sound like a major nerd and often talk to work contacts for months over the phone before meeting them in person. I've lost count of the number of times someone has told me they thought I had glasses. But my vision is perfect. I have 20/15ths vision, I'm currently 6'2", I'm muscular, and I am a massive nerd. I've been asked to join the football team. I was pressured into playing basketball last year, but I just hate all ball sports. The only athletic thing I do is run track. Edit, I am currently a freshman, grade 9 if you aren't familiar with the system. Lol, I have a friend who is 6'5", muscular and black. He's also a nerdy engineer and has absolutely no athletic ability besides lifting weights. He is terrible at basketball, like dribbles with 2 hands with his head down and shoot from his chest terrible. I remember once he came out with us after work to play pick-up basketball at the park. The rest of us are alright but look nothing like Guy. There was another group of people running full court and they needed an extra person. So course they come over to our group and ask this guy to join them. He agrees, but we don't say anything, trying to contain our laughter. All of a sudden both teams start arguing over who is going to get our friend because they think he is a ringer. Fast forward to when the game starts, and our friend looks absolutely lost. We all start cracking up at that point. Eventually the guys playing full court start laughing too, not at him, because he was telling them the whole he sucks. Everyone is cool about it though, and they keep him for the whole game explaining to him how to play better. I've shared this before, but I am 100% Mexican. But I don't obviously look it, and even though Spanish is my first language, I speak English without an accent. Back in college I started this job as a delivery driver / cashier at this Japanese restaurant. My first day there I was being trained by a girl that worked there, who was around my age. Most of the kitchen was Mexican or from somewhere in South / Central America where they spoke Spanish. As she is training me and teaching about the orders, I could hear comments from the back that were in the line of, "Oh, I bet they are gonna fuck and they want each other." It was funny to me because it was a bunch of grown men gossiping like they were in high school. I didn't really get a chance to talk to them because I was so busy learning the ropes, so I stayed quiet. At the end of the day the owner asked me if I could drive the cooks back home since it was on my way. I agreed and we all got in my car and I asked them in Spanish how to get to their place. They were all awkwardly silent for a bit, but then they started laughing and said, "You speak Spanish?" Well, shit, why the fuck didn't you say so? It became a light-hearted car ride and I enjoyed it and their company. We all became friends during my time working there and I would often drive them home because I enjoyed talking with them outside of work. I am 100% not Mexican but used to be fluent in Spanish. I don't use it much anymore so it started to fade. I worked in kitchens with mostly Mexicans and Puerto Ricans for 10 years. Every time I started a new job I withheld my knowledge of the language for as long as possible. The things people say when they think you don't understand. Wowie. I was semi-fluent up until my 2020s. I did the same thing, being a very average-looking white guy, and it always got a laugh. Now all I remember is some Mexican slang and a whole sheetload of swears. Had a friend I was crushing on that I felt liked me too. We were talking online one day and he had to go to work. He says I'll be BL and then get to spend more time with my favorite Asian. I asked, who's that? For as long as I knew him he thought I was Asian. Once he found out I wasn't he ghosted me. ETA, just to say, I'm Hispanic American lol enough PPL were wondering I figured it was a good enough reason to add it here. Dodged a weird kinda bullet. You can say that again. I ended up meeting my husband in the time I was mourning the loss of that friendship, so it was definitely for the best.